Yeah, I didn't realize how unprepared I was for this until
Until
I
you
started like
sat down.
sat down to look at stuff. And fortunately, I had the best. I took off 8 days of work,
That's a
so
lot.
a Wednesday through a Friday, and I had the best day back to work that anybody could have that much time off. My boss was off today, so I was able to like go through everything
Right.
and figure out, just take my time to get back into the swing of things. But
Do you have a job where you can literally just shut it all off?
I had to do a lot of prep work to
Shut it
be
off.
gone. Well, so the thing is, my job, while I've got stuff to do every single day, most of my work comes in the beginning of the month. The
Oh, so it's
first, like, the biggest part is like the first like 2 or 3 days of the month, and then
yeah.
it kind of extends through like the first couple of weeks, and then work on other stuff until the next month end. So yeah, my boss had to do all of my job for a week, but
Oof. All the hard stuff, right?
made it as complicated as possible. No, I made it
And you
as
get PTO, so you know.
yeah, no,
Well,
that was
yeah.
all good. No, she was fine with everything. Like I told her about it. Hell, I booked this 10 months ago. I was like, hey, we're gonna have to prepare for me being gone while this is going on, and she was like, not a problem. And then we didn't talk about it again until like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
She's like, hey, we need to talk about that. Nope, too
But I
late.
had actually, I had literally spent the past 10 months like, trying to streamline my processes as much as possible and build her some tools to handle the things I had to do. So, anywho, yeah, 80s Cruise was
You made it
awesome,
back
man.
in one piece.
Did you get with
Barely.
Debbie Gibson?
Yeah,
Did
that's
not get
actually
with
what
her.
everyone wants to know because you sent the picture, and I was like, and
I talked to her on multiple occasions throughout the cruise. Oh no, there was no bodily exchanges of fluids between.
Would you tell us if there was?
probably not.
Not on here. Like
Well, we'll wait for last
Yeah,
call.
you did the last call. Yeah.
after call. It's called after call.
After call.
Wow.
I mean, it's not really it's not a thing. It's just what I call it. No, it was the last day of the cruise. So the first day of the cruise was it's when she had her first show, and of course that's when I went and stood in line for like 2 hours, which doesn't sound horrible because there was a bar right there. So
you just
You could just be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm
Wait.
going to get another."
what if you?
Yeah.
So if you are like in line, you got to go to the bathroom. They're just like, okay, yeah.
oh,
go to
Kim
the
was
bathroom.
there. I mean,
You
Kim was with
swapped
me.
out. Okay.
Yeah, Kim was with me, so it was just like step out. Like I step and get a drink, and then she go to the bathroom, whatever. But I did find out in this line that as far as crazed Debbie Gibson fans go, I am by far nowhere near the craziest.
Were you also the youngest?
No, there was a girl there that was born the year that Electric Youth came out, and she's like the head member
know
of
what
this
that
thing called
is.
the Diamond the Diamond Deb Heads, and I was talking to them about being this massive fan. Like, oh, are you a member of the Deb Heads? I'm like, oh, is
You're
that
like-
what we're called? We're called the Deb Heads. Like, do you pay the monthly membership? I'm like, what's the monthly membership? And like, it's $20 a month. I'm not paying $20 a month. That's more than
20?
Disney Plus to be a
We're
Debbie
th-
Gibson
we're
fan. I'm like, fuck
$3
that
a
shit.
month.
Do you get
Yeah.
something monthly? Do you get like a record every month or something?
I mean, there was like 7 of them, and Debbie knew all of them by name and talked to them on a regular basis. But yeah, I'm not doing that crap. But no, so I got to sing with Debbie the first night, ran into her the next day. But then like the last night of the cruise, last day of the cruise, she was doing a choreography lesson for the Electric Youth choreography with it for the dance and shit. And I went to it because I wanted to see her, and I did about 10 minutes of it. I was like, I'm not doing dance crap. Fuck this. I'll just go sit in the audience and shit. But
And
before
drink.
then, when I was waiting in line to get in, I had to go to the bathroom, and I came back, and I almost ran smack dab into her as I turned the corner. She was coming down the stairs, like, oh, that's Debbie Gibson. Right.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to touch your boobs. I mean, I didn't.
I would have run into her back. I stopped myself, but yeah, no, it was fantastic. It was 7 days. It could have been 5 and left you wanting a little bit more. So 6 may have been the perfect time. But the 90s cruise, which I signed up for, is 5 days. I'm like, I think that'll be perfect.
Do they have a lineup for that?
Oh yeah.
Collective Soul, Blues Traveler, CNC Music Factory, Lisa Loeb, Color Me Bad. Those are the ones I remember off the top of my head.
These were not my 90s bands.
That's because you're a baby.
Well, I was more of grunge, so
yeah. I mean, yeah. So it's just like there wasn't a lot of hair metal on this. There was Sebastian Bach and the dude from Rat were on there, but like the hair bands, the grunge metal band, the grunge bands are big enough to do their own things.
I'm like,
So-
but I'm like, where's Ween? You know,
Ween, yeah, Teenage Dirtbag or was that teenage? That's the name of the band, but Weedus, some crap like that. Yeah. No, I mean, well, I just gave you the headliners. There's other acts on the cruise.
Nice.
Can you like book it just through Royal, or do you have to book it through like the website for this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you got to book it through.
Can there be okay? So it's like a special cruise that they don't really advertise.
It's a different company. It's a company that just rents out the boat.
Okay.
So, oh yeah,
'Cause
Gin Blossoms are on there. Oh, Everclear, Lit,
Everclear, nice.
Fastball, Jesus Jones, Digital Underground, Sophie
Digital
D. Hopkins.
Underground. That's Tupac. Is Tupac going to be there?
He may be,
Yeah,
Are they going to pick him up on his island?
maybe.
but that may be one of the stops. I don't know.
I'm just trying to imagine someone that accidentally books this cruise on Royal Caribbean has no clue what they're about to get
You
into.
can't. It's
can't.
a reserve. It's a reserve thing. Yeah.
The whole
If
boat.
he's-
Because I know like people rent like partial boats.
Chunks,
right?
yeah.
No, this is the entire cruise. Like it's decked out in like. So it's funny. The cruise. This boat. The cruise before was the Star Trek cruise, and they had like 16 hours or something to take all the Star
flip
Trek
it?
stuff down and put all the 80s cruise stuff up. Like every bar, everything was renamed to something that was 80s related and stuff. It was
Fun.
yeah, it was a badass. It was
I've been
badass.
watching Star Trek, so like I just started as however old I am right now, 39, 38, something like that.
Are you going
No,
chronological order, or are you
I
going?
started in chronological order. Yeah. Not the
you
order
start
they
with-
came out,
with
but the order that they occur in.
So
Is it hard
Enterprise.
to
You start with
watch
Enterprise.
Really old.
Enterprise is
stuff?
the first, yeah. and I just finished Picard, which was different
so you're-
and awesome. Picard is really
Picard-
good.
So does that take place before or after? What was it? Not Deep Space Nine. Voyager.
After.
It takes place after. So that's the end. You're at the end.
Well, there's one more because Discovery is actually split into two halves.
Okay.
Discovery starts earlier and then they travel in time to later. So I still have 2 seasons of Discovery to watch.
I pretty
then
much
I'm
was
done.
just next. I was pretty much just next
Next
gen
generation.
only.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I watched. The '90s stuff. I watched Deep Space Nine for like the first couple of seasons, but I don't consider myself a Deep Space Nine fan.
It was
I do
okay. It was okay.
I do consider myself a Worf fan. I do love Worf because Michael Dorn, same birthday as me.
Worf,
years ahead of
Worf is
me.
great. My problem with Next Generation was that the primary focus was Data, and I'm like, Data is not as compelling as you want him to be, and I guess I'm probably wrong, but to me, he was not as compelling as they wanted him to be. I thought like
pretty
every
good.
episode was about Data, and I'm just like, I don't give a
Trying to
shit
make
about
them learn to be a human
Data. Yeah, I just don't care.
or whatever they
His
are.
positronic brain.
Yeah, I just don't give a shit.
I don't understand.
I want to see
feel like I need
Worf have trouble not killing people.
I feel like
That's
I
What
need
I
also-
want. That's what I.
Well,
That's what I
that's-
wanted
that
out
was
of
my
Next
favorite-
Generation.
My favorite, like little just line in Star Trek Next Generation was when Enterprise was meeting with some like I don't know Klingon dignitary or whatever, and they talk about how skilled Klingons are at hiding weapons on their bodies. That's why they have big, huge stuff they wear because they can hide as many weapons. And so Worf walks into Picard's quarters, whatever, for like let him know something, and Picard goes, "Mr. Worf, how many weapons do you have on you at one time?" Those Star Trek Next Gen costumes, that was like skin tight, whatever. And he
Oh,
looks at him
yeah.
like 14. I'm like, that's so badass.
So Worf is cool. Picard really is a fucking boss, though. Like, I
Oh.
mean, it.
Sure.
People
Yeah.
talk about their favorite captains, and I'm just like, if you say anything other than Picard, I can't take you seriously.
So for
Unless you just like omitted Picard because he's so great that it's not even worth comparing him to
Well,
the
so
others.
back when I watched, it was obviously are you a Picard guy? You were a Kirk guy. But from what I understand with people now is Janeway. It's either Picard or Janeway
Ooh,
are the
I'm a
baddest ass.
Janeway. Yeah, I'm into
yeah.
that. I'm here for it.
She has a leg up on him for you, huh?
Oh,
I hope so.
How about 7 of 9?
Oh man, that's pretty nice too. But there's some kinks involved with Janeway, so
Yeah, I don't know much about all that.
7 of 9 also features prominently in Picard.
Oh, does she?
Which is
Nice.
not. She was never in the Next Generation, but she is. She interacts.
Yeah,
she's
but
known
he was assimilated, and so was she. And
oh
so
yeah, that's true. So she knows him as Locutus.
I
we made
watched.
this about Star Trek, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a warning label that this starts off as 80s Cruise and just leads right into just
Star Trek
nerd shit. Yeah, I like the Locutus storyline. I like the 7 of 9. That was good. Yeah, I read a lot of the books. I read all the Star Trek Next Gen books too back then. This was
man.
my.
I haven't done
That's
that.
impressive.
That was my middle school, freshman year of high school time, and I read a lot of that kind of stuff. I read stories about how the Federation tried to like get a Picard out because of his assimilation, and oh yeah, man, Borg stuff was cool. I love the Borg.
Well, and there's more in Picard. They did not like him. He resigned because they were like, "We're not going to listen to you," and he was like, "All right, I'm out." So.
This is the only thing I didn't really believe about Next Gen was there's no. It's because it's TV, but there's no way that someone as skilled as Riker would keep on turning down captainships to.
Oh, I was going to say there's no way that anyone liked Riker enough to have them on their ship.
I liked Riker.
Played a fucking trombone. Come on.
Dude, being his badass like leg move over the chair and shit. He was the player. He was the player in Star Trek. He was the Captain Kirk.
Yeah. Riker, as portrayed in Lower Decks, the cartoon, is awesome.
I watched that.
It's
Are
really
watching
good.
that chronologically? Are you watching that chronologically as well?
Yeah, that was right before Picard.
Mm.
It was after Voyager, before Picard.
I actually made a comment to somebody about the difficulty in cosplaying with a beard, and like you could do Riker, and I'm like, I never even fucking thought of that.
And Riker does show up in Picard and is a badass in it. So
yeah, I think I watched Picard long enough for Riker.
Probably a little old, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, he's definitely. But so that actor directed a bunch of the movies for the Next
Jonathan
Generation.
Frakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched Picard up until I think Riker showed up, and that just not because he was there, but that's when I kind of
the end, I think.
So maybe I didn't watch it that long. I don't know.
Wait,
I watched
almost the end of the first season.
I did not make it past the first season.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
felt it slow.
The second
Weird.
season is Q, and I'm not a big fan of Q. The Q episodes, I sort of get frustrated. The entire because they it's not Monster of the Week, right? It's like every single episode is a continuation of a story instead of Monster of the Week type thing, and it's like this. It's this whole Q. The whole season as a Q setup.
Yeah. Q I like, but see, I was the demographic at the time. Like I was the kid, I was the young child that was like watching this powerful being that could do whatever the hell he wanted and kind of had a chip on his shoulder. Had a chip on his shoulder. I like the episode where he loses. He gets kicked out of the Q-Continuum or Q-Continuum, whatever they call it.
There's like a civil war.
Yeah, but the part I remember was him being in the brig on the Enterprise, and Picard comes in there, and it's like, what did you do? What do you mean? It's like, I was in a far-off land, and I was doing this, and then I ended up back here again. Picard's like, you were dreaming. That's a dream. When you fall asleep, you see things that are not real. It's your brain doing stuff, and you were here the entire time. It's like, how do you live like this? Yeah.
I had to Google Q. I was like, it sounds familiar. Yeah, no.
Yeah, Q was like the Borg if they were watchers and just like, for lack of a better term, like magical beings that just kind of were always there.
They're like gods. Yeah.
They weren't supposed to interfere, but they did, or Q did at least. And they were all
Q with people.
But they were all Q. Like that was their name. They were just they were Q.
And he actually, you mentioned Borg. He's the reason the Borg came over to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like one of the first episodes of Q, he like transports them in front of a cube. They like have to figure it out, and then they transport back, but then they reference it later on. They're just like,
if you set your phasers to a varying frequency, you can get 1 or 2 shots before they figure it out.
Before their shields go.
Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Is that cat?
It's good. It's not bad at all.
I read a book where Data and Tasha Yar. It was actually a good one. Where Data and Tasha Yar end up on a planet and stuck there, whatever, and whatever the supreme being was on that planet actually does grant Data his Pinocchio wish of making him human, so he can be with Tasha Yar or whatever. And he goes back to the Enterprise.
Is that a storyline?
How's that even work?
Tasha Yar
In the book? You don't remember that?
I don't.
There was total sexual tension between Tasha Yar and Data.
That's doubtful. Maybe between Tasha Yar and Data.
That's whatever your fantasy is, Ryan. But I mean, 2 chicks in the city. I'm in. 2 clones of each. Anyhow,
2 clones, 1 cup.
Then she comes back as a Romulan.
But no, she but like he comes back to the Enterprise and he like doesn't know a lot of his stuff that he learned in the Federation, because it wasn't like he just had to memorize and regurgitate stuff, so he didn't know those things because he was a human now, and all this kind of crap happens, and they go back to the planet and they have to reverse it. So he's a robot again, but not a droid. It's trademarked.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And there was it Lore? Lore was his
brother. Yeah.
Predecessor.
They come in pairs, apparently.
And then he created, I forget what her name was. They created his daughter, and she was able to use contractions, which means that she was superior to Data because he couldn't use contractions.
In Picard, they continue that whole like there's pairs of them and blah blah blah. The contractions thing we're beyond that.
Yeah. So Brent Spiner is in it. Do they explain him aging?
Is that Data?
Yeah.
He plays like 4 different characters. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Because they had him in like one of like the First Contact movie, or whatever. And like they're really trying hard to make up this guy having not aged at all since the 90s.
Yeah, he plays like 2 different Soongs, like the guy who created Data.
Yeah.
And then he plays Data, and I feel like that might be it. He plays 3 characters.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
And
people just pop up in it too, man. I mean, there's a lot of like throwback for fans. There's a lot of like, just like, oh man, yeah, that's cool. But
yeah, I didn't like
Riker and Troy are like off homesteading on some weird planet.
Oh, I thought they were like in Alaska or some crap.
No, they're on some planet by themselves, just like hunting and whatever.
Because of course, why wouldn't you?
I mean, it did seem cool.
Yeah. Star Trek's kind of cool. But what do you think of the originals? What do you think of the original series?
It was tough.
I gotta imagine it's pretty tough to watch.
What?
It's gotta be tough to watch stuff that's old like that, no?
Yeah, and because I watched them in chronological order, like Stardate order, it was like I watched some of the new stuff,
which looks really good.
I watched like Strange New Worlds before I watched the original series, and they sort of like overlap weirdly.
So is there like there's a website that has like the order of everything to watch, and you're just gonna go. I tried to do that with Clone Wars for Star Wars.
I did that for Clone Wars too. Yeah.
When that was my thing I was gonna do when Cooper was born. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be home for a while. I'm in the hospital for a little bit, and then home for a while. I'm trying, and I made it through a dozen or so episodes. I'm kind of like, it's too hard to manage what I'm watching next and stuff. And
it gets better because those first 3 seasons jump around so much, and then it's just like everything is in order, and you're like, what were you guys thinking with the order of this? Like Like it doesn't. It's wild that they decided this made sense because it's like season 1 will have an episode that's standalone, and then season 3 will have like the continuation of that episode, and not even really talk about that it's a continuation. And you're just like, what the heck is this?
Go from this episode and then fast forward to a year and a half later and watch from minutes 237 to minutes.
Well, I didn't do that.
417.
But it was super weird. It's almost like the Arrested Development, you know, like the Netflix version though. What?
Never watched it.
So Arrested Development, the Netflix version, they did this thing where it was like the same story over and over and over again from different people's perspectives.
Oh, I like those stories.
No, but everybody hated it.
Mhm.
Lots of people hated it. Maybe not everybody. I think people complain about this. And then they created another version that was just the chronological, like, here's what happened in that season.
Right.
And so it was a little better. I like that better. I was like, man, I just feel like I'm watching the same episode over and over and over again.
Was it the movie Smoking Aces or something like that, where they did that? It was all these assassins out to kill the same person, and so they showed like every assassin like the start of their day. See, and there was some overlap, but not that much. And then I like that kind of stuff. But like I could see if you're
there was a lot of overlap.
But if you're used to watching, you know, a show that's filmed traditionally, and then they do a season that's not like that, I can see that being like not fun.
Clone Wars should just come out with another little icon on Disney that is, you know, the proper order, and you just can watch it.
It wouldn't surprise me because I think they actually have a playlist of Marvel movies that are in chronological order.
Yeah,
that'd be really smart, just to make it easy for everyone.
I mean, it's real like baffling what they did. I don't know why they did the jumping around like they did.
Just to screw with
So
you.
one of the things I did while I was gone, we came back to Florida and we went to Disney Springs. We're walking around there, and we didn't really want to do anything. And so there was a theater there. We saw Madam Web.
Oh yeah, is that out?
Oh, dude, it's
pretty big theater. Yeah,
it's been getting in the worst reviews. Like before we left, I saw people saying, this is not the worst superhero movie ever made. Ooh. This is the worst movie ever made.
Ooh.
And
was it that
bad? And granted, so this is coming from a Spider-Man fan, but this is coming from a Spider-Man fan who hates the Madam Web character. So
isn't it Sony?
It is Sony. And so I can see every single reason, like every single point that people made about why the movie was bad. I agree completely with it. It looks like a movie where they kind of just wrote up a script really quickly and said, hey, let's do this. And like, cool, make it. But the person who wrote it was like, oh, you need someone to actually flush this out. Like, this is just my synopsis of the story or whatever. Like, this dialogue should not.
No, we're done.
Ryan, there's literally scenes at the scene at the beginning of the movie where the guy's smashing the burger on the grill with a spatula, and she's like, "You're letting all the fat out." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what makes it good." She's like, "Fat has flavor." Like that's the kind of dialogue that's in this movie.
No,
and she said, and I acted just as well as Dakota Fanning did in the movie when she said it. So the funniest parts of the movie are laughing at it, not with
while
it.
You're watching it.
Good.
Yeah, but it's worth, if you can stomach it. It's like a 2-hour movie. It's worth the watch
to laugh
just
at
for how bad it is. But you know, it's not as bad as they said. It's, you know what, I had to turn off or Wolverine Origins or Origins Wolverine, whatever, X-Men Origins Wolverine. I just turned that one off because I was like, I can't fucking watch this anymore. But Madam Web, it's so stupid. I loved it.
It's so stupid.
Like don't
so the Sony movies are like, I weirdly liked Morbius. I know like that's not very popular, but
that one I think I've not made it through without falling asleep.
But I mean, it was not great.
Does he actually say it's Morbin time in there?
I think they do.
Because there's all these jokes and memes and crap out his face. But like, I've not stayed awake until that point.
Yeah, but they made fun of what's his face, Matt. What's it? The bad guy, the antagonist, Doctor Who. They make fun of him for doing this like dance scene, And I'm like, that's the best scene in the movie. It's the best scene. So I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, one of the co-stars of Madam Web is Adam Scott, and his name is Ben Parker, and he's really interested in this new girl he's met, but he doesn't want to share her name because this may be the one. And then his sister, played by Emma Roberts, who's never horrible to look at, she's so what's her fucking name? Michelle Parker or whatever, not Michelle, yeah, but whatever her name is, sister-in-law, so whatever Parker. She's having this baby in the baby shower. Like, guess the name. Like, oh, we're gonna keep it a secret until he's born. Like, they're not gonna say Peter at all.
So it's Peter.
yeah, like.
So this is a prequel. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah, it takes place. It's supposed to take place like in the 90s or something. So it's supposed to be the Tom Holland Spider-Man like origin story type thing.
Well, no, because Sony doesn't actually have rights to that. So, but they keep on trying to like nudge into it. They're like, oh no, we're part of it, and like, I don't. It's such a mess. Yeah, they're not that good.
It's so dumb.
Sony's doing a really poor job of all of these movies. Like they're just like trash Spider-Man.
Well, fortunately, like it's other than the bad guy looking just like Spider-Man and the female heroes having just variations of Spider-Man costumes, it's like, oh, is this a Spider-Man movie that just he never shows up in? But like Morbius, you don't really get it besides some background shit and crap. Kraven the Hunter, we'll see what he does. That looks pretty good, actually.
That one's Marvel, though, isn't it? Or is that Sony too?
Sony too.
Oh no. What? Huh. What about Michael Keaton as the Vulture? Is that Sony?
That's no. Michael Keaton as the Vulture is Marvel. MCU, but they put him into Morbius just to fuck with everybody.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew there was something there. Michael Keaton's amazing, and he was a great Vulture.
He's fantastic. Did you see him at the Oscars or whatever last night?
I didn't watch the Oscars.
Either did I, but my TikTok popped up with him and somebody else on there, and they said this is why Michael Keaton is the best Batman ever, and I'm like, swipe. So I didn't see it.
Oh,
whatever it was.
All I know is that Ryan Gosling did. He did the Ken song.
Yeah,
and
Channing Tatum
apparently John Cena showed up.
John Cena.
Butt ass naked.
He was butt ass naked. Yes.
Was he invisible? Was that the joke that he thought he was invisible?
No, there used to be like, I guess in some Oscar there's a streaker, and so they wanted to like reproduce it, and then the whole skit was like, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. I don't want to streak. I'm uncomfortable.
He should have come out and been like,
he had like a giant envelope they put right from his dick.
Is that what it was? I saw him holding something. It
was like a giant envelope, and then they gave him like I don't even know what the hell they put on him. Almost like a curtain or something.
Some kind of pasty type thing. Yeah. I mean, what the picture I saw, there was not a lot of room for any kind of undies.
No room for air in that.
Yeah, well, so he had the thing like this is fucking this is probably still the 90s. Yeah. I had my roommate was my cousin, my female cousin, and we had this party at the house, and her friends talking about like what she likes about guys, like that V, like right there, that V, like that muscular V in a guy's.
He has that.
And I'm like, and I'm as a fat kid my entire life, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then I see John Cena and that, I guess the envelope, and that V was very prominent in the picture. I was like,
I also like that in ladies, so.
He likes the V, the JJ.
Yeah, like the defined like the V, the definition there. You know,
that nice. Works too. Should we close this out?
Probably. We have not talked about anything Georgia State. We did a bunch of Star Trek, then we did Spider-Man, sorta.
Yeah, this is the Dragon Con episode of the Last Call. Well, thanks for anybody that's still listening. There is somebody still listening.
Somebody's there.
Becca.
It's probably
talk to you next week. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.